Hi there, Matt Scheckman, aka Shecky the Techie, and welcome to the Mad Synthesis Lab. As I explore the Mad Synthesis layer here, we've got a lot of gear, and you hopefully have a lot of questions. Ask them. We want to tailor this channel to you. Want to know how this synth sounds versus that synth? How that controller works? How they work together? What the heck this is? We're going to eventually do in-depths on everything, but you, our viewers, our early fans, tell us what you want. And that's what we're going to do. Let's get into it. It's Matt Scheckman, aka Shecky the Techie, and we are going to take a tour of the studio. Little disclaimer, work in progress. We're nowhere near hooked up. Lots of stuff, we're missing some pieces, so forgive the mess, but it gives you an idea of just how much stuff I crammed into one space. So, as we come along and enter the studio room, right here we have our first rack and some gear. We've got the Sound Machines Modular 114, fun little modular synth out of Italy. The Moog Mavis, much maligned, but actually not bad at all. Befacco Oneroy, beautiful, beautiful effects machine. Here we have our retro rack. We've got a Moog Slim Fatty, an Alesis QSR, lovely sounds on that. Korg TR rack, I also do have the bigger Korg, but this is its little backup. And I adore this, the Analog Solutions Leipzig S. Definitely a retro rave in a box. So, as we move along on this side of the wall as well, we have our modular. Now this big guy is going to be moved down, and we're going to move another one up and juxtapose some stuff around, but this is the Analog Solutions Fusebox X. Next to it we have the Studio Electrics Boomstar. This is stunning. It's the one with the SEM filter. It's the Boomstar 2. I would argue it might even sound better than an original Oberheim expander. And we have a Dope for Dark Energy 2. Again, great little mono synth. Up here, not that accessible, but we're going to work on bringing it down a little bit, is an EMU MPS Plus, very old school Rompler. In fact, the first synth I ever bought. So, holds a very special place in my heart. Down here, we have the complete Moog modular, semi-modular studio, including Mother 32, Subharmonicon, DFAM, Spectravox, and Labyrinth. And then, because it kind of does go with it, the Pittsburgh Modular Taiga right on top. Next to it, we have the Make Noise, we have the O Control with the O Coast and the Strega. So both of those right there, fun to patch and play with. Down here, we have two serious hitter modulars. We have the Analog FX SER 2020, and we've got the Endorphin.ES shuttle system. Incredible modulars, both of them. This one does a very Formant-like double filter arrangement for voice-like sounds. This one is just incredibly versatile, and uniquely enough, for both being monosynths essentially, arguably paraphonic, and, you know, modular, they're actually MPE compliant. So you could actually use an MPE controller with them and get all sorts of MPE sounds, and that's why you'll see we have MPE controllers nearby that I can then route over here if I want. One more step down, we have the Pittsburgh Modular Voltage Lab, a playground of experimentation, and under beautiful, just artfully made, beautiful oscillators, great morphing between waveforms and cross-modulating FM, we have the Blue Lantern Systems EOS. That one will probably be up here, this will probably be down there, and we'll move that around a bit. Continuing along in front of me, we've got two more Moogs, the classic Minotaur, and its cousin, or brethren, the Siren. Basically, the Minotaur is amazing for bass, but is limited in frequency. They did a very limited run of 1,000 and said, what if we took it and made it full range? And that's the Siren. It's a Minotaur with a full range oscillator. Along with that, we have a modern GRP synthesizer, the A1. I would love to get some of GRP's bigger, newer stuff, but this is beautiful sounding for a single mono voice. And then we have the MFB Dominion Club. Marcus Flicke, I'm sure I just butchered his name. What a loss. He was really a genius. His stuff is quirky as can be, but so interesting and unique. Not nearly as interesting, but totally necessary. We have a BeatStep Pro here to control the modulars and the MIDI. We also have a KeyStep Pro right here. Also continuing with the Marcus Fricke MFB Berlin, we have an MFB Berlin Urzwerg Pro, or Urzwerg Pro, or however, I'm sure I'm butchering the German. Great for both CV and MIDI control. Very unique, very hands-on analog sequencer. And above it, we have, made right here locally, just a few miles from where I am, in Brooklyn, the Landscape Noon, a completely passive drum machine that uses CV and gate voltage to trigger. Lastly here, we have the Jouet Play. It was a very promising system. Unfortunately, the company did go out of business, but if you're able to still get the editor software, it's a great little MPE controller, as in MP for these guys. And we have the Polyend Tracker Plus, which tracker workflow is its own unique thing, but this is beautiful. So we'll stop there. We'll pick up on my left in just a second. Cool modeling synth, incredibly cool, also has a piezo in it. We have here by Artium Instruments, not Atrium, Artium Instruments, the Swarm. It's a multi-modular multi-stacked sawtooth oscillator. So it's like a super oscillator, super saw. That's what it's all about. Polyphonic super saw, playable, but very hands-on control. Next to it, we have the Dreadbox Typhon out of Greece. They make some incredible synths. This one is nice because you have constant morphing of the wave from FM through every wave combination to double sawtooth. And then it has a whole effects and filter section. Great effects in this. Beneath it, for both regular control and or MPE control on some of these that take MPE, we have a Raleigh light pad block, a Raleigh Lumi Studio Key, which lights up and does have per note pitch bend, and the Raleigh Seaboard M, the baby version of the Seaboard that has the full 5-axis MPE. So tucking that back away a little bit, starting here, there is a spot held because there will be a multi-poly module. I have run out of money, so we haven't gotten it yet. But there will be a multi-poly module. Continuing along, this is the Korg module section, not modular. We have an OP6, 6-voice FM synth. We have the ModWave, 6-oscillator, FM synth, 6-operator. We have the ModWave, incredible wavetable with the physics engine, like the Chaos Pad. We have the WaveState, which does the unique wave sequencing. Super unique with the vector joystick, that's a big part of it. And then we have their analog digital hybrid, the Minilog XD, which has 2 analog oscillators and a digital wavetable oscillator in it as well. So all of those are right here, controllable from here, playable from here. Below there, we have some effects. These are all from Erica Synths, amazing company. Believe out of Latvia, I have to confirm that, but I believe out of Latvia. We have the Echolocator, incredible delay device with unique functions, fully controllable, very hands-on. Their knobs, they look great. Hopefully you're seeing that on camera, but let me tell you, they feel incredible. Everyone talks about the Moogs for their knob feel. I'd say Erica is just as good, if not even better. In front of that, we have the Night Verb, full reverb engine. Then we have a filter engine, the Acid Box 3. This is a Polyvox filter, the one made famous out of Russia. And then the Zen Delay, tube-based delay. Again, full hands-on control, right here on a shelf to be popped out and patched in once it's all done. We continue with the retro revisions here. We got a Yamaha TX802, essentially a DX7 II in a rack. So for the traditional Yamaha FM synthesis that owned the 80s, we have the TX802. Below that, similar and yet so uniquely different, we have the Casio VZ10. Whereas Yamaha is FM synthesis, and they correctly point out it's not true FM, it kind of is phase modulation. Casio's version is phase distortion or phase interruption, and it gives it a grit, a graveliness, but also a warmth. I adore this synth. And speaking of adore, right below it we have the Ensoniq ESQM. Blown away does not begin to cover how wonderful some of the voices on this are. It is just a great piece of history. Okay, so continuing down there, we have some Waldorf stuff going on. We have the Waldorf Rocket and the Waldorf Streichfett, two of the three that were in the same format. Okay, they also had the two-pole, but I don't unfortunately have that. Rocket is a great analog with a fun-to-play VCF and LFO, really fun oscillator, just fun little monosynth. Streichfett is an incredible, if you're looking for that 70s string sound, it is the string synthesizer. I believe its German translated means spreadable fat, meaning like butter or whatnot. But I could see why, because let me tell you, in the words of Stuyvesant, it's like butter, okay? Definitely a great little synth. So that's right there. Continuing down here, we have another Dreadbox, the Nymphas, again out of Greece. Maligned somewhat fairly for not having a better interface and for having some weird key press combos, though it does have a software editor that you could use. However, oh my goodness, 6-voice polyphony in this little box, warm and round, and that unique Dreadbox sound. Can't recommend it enough. Great little thing. Speaking of toys that I could get lost in forever, the Making Sound Machines Plinky. Just an experimental landscape with all the touch interaction where each thing acts like a guitar string and you could oscillate and vibrate your fingers between them. Really, really cool synth. Next to that, in the category of cool, a Polyend. Much like we had the tracker over here, here's the Polyend synth. Lets you play up to 3 digital synth engines at a time. Any 3, there's currently 9. I think when it came out there were 7 and they keep adding more. Great company like that, very happy with it. Really fun device to play around with. So that's right there. Then continuing with our Waldorf Expedition, we have the Waldorf Pulse 2, all analog. And then we have the Blofeld, amazing, again, punching above its weight class, wavetable. I do have the bigger Waldorfs. I love the bigger Waldorfs, but the price leap is significant. For the money, the Blofeld is incredible. Wouldn't be a synth collection if you didn't have some Roland. So we have some Roland. Here we have the SH4D. Great little, I don't know if you call it a groove box. It's not really a drum machine. It's kind of a synth, has multiple synth engines. Whatever it is, I know I like it. And then right above it, incredible drum machine that they made, also a great controller, was the top of the line until they just came out with the 1000, which, chef's kiss, maybe someday I'll get one. But for now, the TR-8S, incredible, incredible little drum machine. So we'll pause here and we'll continue next with the real fancy stuff with the flagship stack, which is just around the corner as we head to the desk. Starting up here, Synclavia Regen. Oh my goodness. A sound designer's dream doesn't begin to cover it. The versatility, the amount of polyphony, the number of partials that you could track, which is like multi-timbral polyphony per voice, and then that you could have 12 of those voices, each of which have 12 parts, that you could do frames, that it could modulate anything, including wavetable or samples, can then be used as FM modulation sources. It is a dream. You could lose yourself for years in the sound design of that. Now, a lot of people go, well, can I get it as a VST? You can, and the VST is great. Don't get me wrong. But they put the cleanest DACs in this. It has balanced XLR outputs. And its processor is surprisingly powerful. And that's the thing about VSTs. People are like, do you need hardware for digital? Can't you work in the box? Yeah, you can. But how much can your CPU take? How many layers? How much of that are you eating up that you're then running into problems with your audio tracks or with your effects? Here you're offloading all of that to a standalone processor that does a great job of it. That plays very nicely into the one right immediately below it, the Waldorf Iridium. Of course, Waldorf has just announced the Mark II of this, where they doubled the processing, driving home the processing point. But even this one is pretty spectacular. I lust after a Mark II, don't think I'll be getting one anytime soon. But just the does everything and does it well. Is it the absolute best? Maybe not. But it is so good at everything it could do. Granular, virtual acoustic, wavetable, you name it, it does it, and it sounds phenomenal. 3 oscillators, each of which can be wavetable, kernel, waveform, particle, or resonator for physical modeling. 3 of them per voice, multi-timbral, 16-part. Sick synth. Now, in the dedicated Own the Space, we have a company out of France, Kadamo. This is the Essence FM. This puppy here is, I would argue, the pinnacle of FM synthesis. Op6, great fun. TX802, reference to the Yamaha standard. But this thing here, not only is it 6 operator FM, you can, instead of having to pick from a limited array or even a large array of algorithms for how those operators are configured, you can literally drag and drop and make your own algorithm configuration. Each algorithm can have feedback on it, or feed to any other thing, or cross-modulate. That alone, sick ability. Where it gets really insane, right here. Every other FM synth on the planet, sine wave. Some, I think the Op6, you could push a couple of other waves to. This one, all of those waves are per operator modular, including the ability for you to draw your own waves. It is unlike anything I've ever used. 300-part multi-timbral. For stacked, layered FM sounds, I don't think it gets any better. Speaking of incredible combos, right below, the UDO Super 6, the desktop version. UDO, I'm not such the adherent that I'm like, it's wonderful it doesn't have a screen. Obviously, I kind of like screens. But I will say, its sound is great, the bitimbrality. And the combination, the hybrid combination of an FPGA oscillator with analog filters can't be matched. In fact, as far as I know, there's only a couple of other synths that did it, and I have 2 of the other ones that have. So we'll cover those in a moment. But great. Then again, back on interface and fun and creative, the Future Retro Vectra. Okay? Everything mapped to a joystick for mixing between the 4 different voices, for mixing between your filter, resonance, and cutoff frequencies, for mapping any other things that you want to an XY parameter, along with your normal pitch bend and modulation. Multiple scales, great sequencing, really a unique beast. You could get lost in it for hours, if not days. Finishing up on this poll, right here at the top, we have the IntelliGel Cascadia. Normally known for their modular, this is their semi-modular all-in-one. Makes great sounds without patching anything, but boy, you start digging in and patching it, options take up off the chart. Multiple different types of oscillators, pulse width modulated, sawtooth, sub-oscillators on it, a sample and hold engine that I adore, envelope generators that are incredible and can loop. Just a powerhouse of integrating old school modular with new school MIDI control, computer control. Then, another little company, Beetle Crab, makes 2 devices. Gotta say I'm a fan of them, I own both of them. This is the Tempera. It is their granular synthesizer, but with a twist. Yes, Waldorf does granular pretty solidly. This one does granular even better, but it's got this touch surface. Basically, think of it like 8 guitar strings. So each sample, you could load up 8 samples at a time that are granular, and then emit them and move those emitters around, up and down for pitch variation, or left and right for picking up parts of those other waveforms and cross-modulating it. It is beautiful to get lost in for hours. It's just a fun synthesizer. Continuing along, we get the main parts of the flagship here. All the way over to the left, a little bit hidden behind the Cascadia, but when I'm sitting here, very easily accessible, we have Game Changer Audio's Motor Synth. Probably one of my favorite synths that I leave off most of the time. And why do I leave it off? Because I joke it's the only synth you could hear without it plugged into any amplification. That's part of its appeal, but it does make it a sort of, not a one-trick pony, but a unique thing. You have to know you want to use it. Basically, it's arguably not a synth, though it does have synth engines that it could do standard sawtooth pulse width modulation or sine. However, the main thing it is 8 drone motors. Okay? Those motors are the source of your waveforms, the discs on them, but most of the time what you want to do is you're picking up the EMF field emitted by the motors rotating itself. So it truly is an electromechanical device. Add in the fact that instead of your typical glide, where it's a process to either analog or digital glide from note to note, here you're able to choke, accelerate, or brake each of the motors. So sure, you could do a standard envelope, but imagine an envelope that is actually analog, the motors speeding up and slowing down as you glide between notes. Such a great sound. Above it, we have our Nordic friends, Tasty Chips. This is the GR1. Hopefully, eventually, I will replace it with the GR Mega, but even at the GR1. If Iridium is good granular, Tempera is better granular with a unique approach. The final boss of granular, the Tempera. Beautiful. Incredibly too, granular often runs the risk of not being musical. Tempera, everything I get out of it sounds so musical. Last one here on the top row, Magella Implexus. A monosynth that is a hybrid of East Coast and West Coast. Okay, you have the Moog-based subtractive synthesis, complex waveforms through filters, and then you have the Buchla model of wave folding and wave modification in the same device with a gorgeous interface. You see these bars around it, that tracks your knob position, but not only your knob position, as you use your mod matrix and put modulations on it, it's bouncing. It's showing you those mods. Incredible for that. So right next to, on the second tier, the Game Changer Motor Synth Mark II, we have the other device from Beetle Crab, the Vector. Incredible synthesizer. Great interface, great UI. Basically takes the whole Vector concept that Korg first rolled out in the wave states and explodes it. 4 different oscillators in the corner, able to do advanced paths, modulated paths, particle emitted so that as it traces on the path, it emits satellites. Just incredible, incredible synth. Has a randomizer on it, plenty of synths do. This wins for the most musical randomizer. If I am at a loss, looking to be inspired by a sound, random on this always seems to hit the mark. It's incredible. Can't recommend it enough. Continuing along with the international adventure, here we have GS Music, South American synth manufacturer, very much inspired by Oberheim. Similar, perhaps, to DSI, but totally its own beast. Polyphonic, analog, multi-oscillator synth. Just warm, beautiful, and knob per function. No real deep menu diving, which is good because your screen is just that tiny little thing. But you don't need it. This just sounds so rich and lush. If you're a pad nut like I am, pads for days. Beautiful, modern, really a modern classic. Continuing down, now we're in the beyond heavy hitter category. If we have the god of FM in the Kodamo, Electromechanical in the Game Changer. Vector explored to its max in the Vector. Granular explored to its max in the Tasty Chips. Well, if you want to see wavetable taken to its natural evolution, Groove Synthesis Third Wave. Insane. Taking the legacy of PPG with the Wave and the Wave 2 and growing it into its own thing. Incredible wavetable oscillators that can either be lo-fi, aka using the original PPG wavetables with the aliasing and all those artifacts. If you're going for that sound, it will give you that sound. On the flip side, it runs at such high frequency that you could run it in a hi-fi mode where it is just crystal clear wavetables. Also, we always know wavetable, oh, it's cool, it's cold, it's digital. I don't think theirs are, but maybe make that argument. How did they solve that? Analog filter stages, analog VCAs. Your wavetable digital oscillators go through all analog circuits. Warms it up, gives that analog sort of drift. Unbelievable. If it was just that, it would almost be without compare. But add in a trick that, yes, the Synclavier could do, but you have to do it outside the box. The Groove Synthesis does it inside the box, and that is resynthesis. Take a sample, and instead of turning it into a sample playback engine, map that sample as a wavetable. It is not real time for that. It does do a little processing, but it's incredibly quick. And it takes what would be huge amounts of samples that you'd be playing back as VSTs, makes it all work. Again, sound designer's dream. Next to it, one that if we were just talking sound, great analog. As good as the GS? Close, but maybe not. Hybrid, analog and digital, like the Korg. Better than the Korg? Yeah, I think this one's a better analog poly. The polyphony on it sounds great. The digital part is very open source and they encourage the community to experiment with it. But still, neither of those things seem unique enough for it to be in the flagship stack. Why is it in the flagship stack? One reason and one reason only. We'll do a whole special where we'll fire it up and show you. But the UI. Every single knob on this has a drone motor behind it. That acts as haptics for putting detentes on it so that it could be clickable or non-clickable, have stops in it, have hard stops or soft stops, and fully animatable. So as you morph your parameters, you literally see what's morphing because all those knobs are moving. Unlike anything else, but it gets better. Because then when you start using the mod matrix, you literally see what every mod matrix is modding. You don't have to guess, you don't have to hunt down what's moving that knob. As I punch through my different LFOs, I see, oh look, it's affecting this one this much and this one that much. It snaps right to it. The final boss of brilliant UI. It solves the problem of if your knob per function, how do you do recall? And if you do recall, then do you have to pick it up? There's all those questions. Nord came up with a very good solution. I thought it was the best in the Nord Lead 3, but Melbourne Instruments Nina took it and ran with it. Beautiful. Speaking of modulation matrices, we have our French friends from Arturia, the Matrix Brute. Great monosynth with its own sound. It's not a Moog, it's not trying to be a Moog. It's not an Oberheim, it's not trying to be an Oberheim. It is its own two-stage filter with combinations, and literally, if you're looking to learn the concept of mod matrices, it doesn't get any more obvious than having the entire matrix right there in front of you. Great way to do analog monosynth. Super powerful, super fun. Below that, a theory board as a controller. We'll discuss that a bit later. Got some interesting thoughts on that, including what one very unique individual has done with it and really taken it and run with it. Below that, I didn't want to love this as much as I love it. Okay? This is the Expressive E Osmos. I held off on getting it for a while because I have Raleigh Seaboards. I have both the Seaboard M and I have the bigger Seaboard Rise. I said, I have the final boss of MP. Maybe I'll get a Linstrument. Sure, I would love some of the other ones. But I don't need a keyboard like MP. Heck, the cheaper Raleigh Lumis do that. Yeah, the hype is true. This is just such a beautiful exploration of per note pitch bend, per note aftertouch. It is so expressive that 90% of what a good synth player would be playing with one hand and using the other hand on the mod wheels or on a ribbon. You don't have to take either hand off these keys. Just by varying pressures, varying finger position, you can do insane things with it. That does make it its own instrument. It takes a little more practice. In fact, I think I've enjoyed it more because I'm not a classically trained pianist. My piano playing is terrible. I think if you were, you might find it very frustrating because normally on a piano, you don't have to worry about left to right movement. Here you do. But if you're willing to learn it, great, great little device. Last synth is part of the flagship stacks. My 303-esque knockoff, the Noran Mono Mark II. It is a beautiful bass synth, has the little controls, has the sequencer, has parameter locks per step. So not only can you have different notes, you could have different filtration on it, different VCA amplification, different drive or effects levels, different combinations of the two oscillators, including whether you snap in or out between synced and non-synced or cross-modifying and non-cross-mod. As if that's not crazy enough, full MP. Each of these keys is MP. This whole strip is MP. You're able to do full MP on a 303-like bass sequencer. Really fun little device. Very much a fan of it. So we're going to pause there.